Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another exciting talk happening here at DGC MEA. And I am here joined by amazing personalities who are the game changers of the gaming industry in the UAE and possibly even the Middle East. We're joined by Nazeel from Moral, Mr. G from Boss Bunny, Sultan from 2454, and Mr. Yan from SAE. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us in this talk.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us here today. So I guess pretty much the gaming industry is just booming and the future is looking so bright and exciting. So we'd like to start with Mr. Nazeel. Tell us a little bit about Moral and what's happening with the gaming industry and esports.
Hi everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to this panel as well. So Moral, for those of you who haven't who are not aware, we are one of Abu Dhabi's main drivers of leisure, entertainment, and tourism. We're a government-based entity, and I think we're most familiar in the markets in relation to our work on Yas Island. So essentially, we're the developers behind all the attractions and experiences that you've seen on Yas Island. So things like Ferrari Worlds, Yas Water World, Warner Brothers World, and most recently, the Etihad Arena, which has also opened up as well. And for us as Moral, as a destination manager and a destination promoter for Yas Island, we see gaming as a future. And therefore would love to have a bit more of a chat about that on this call.
Beautiful, beautiful. Exciting things taking place right there in Israel. Thank you, Mr. Nazeel. So, Mr. G, tell us a little bit about the gaming community, the gaming jams, the game development. What's happening there?
Hey, thank you very much. I'm CEO of Boss Bunny. We're based in Dubai, but we're about to open our new office in Abu Dhabi with our partners 2454. And then we're actually looking, so it will initially be in the current 2454 building, but we'll be moving over to Yas Island with a much bigger space, end of the year, beginning of next year. We're looking to have a development studio in Abu Dhabi of between 5 and 10 people initially, developing hyper-casual mobile games. And then we're looking, when we move to Yas Island, we're looking to extend that team possibly to anywhere between 15 and 30 people. So we are currently developing hyper-casual games. We're also developing some rather large IP games. So we're developing the game for Frege from Lantara Studios based on the animation series. And we're also developing a game for Barack, the famous chef.
Wow.
So we're building a game for him as well. Looking for both of those to be out Q4 of this year, and then we're developing approximately 5 to 6 other hyper-casual games this year as well. And we've got a couple of other things that we can't announce just yet, but hopefully we'll be talking about later on this year. But currently all mobile focused.
Amazing, amazing, exciting things taking place. Definitely it is. So now going to Mr. Sultan, 2454 and AD Gaming. What's happening there?
How's it going, Bob? Thanks for having us here today. Thanks for having me here today. And as you said, right, so I represent both 2454 and the AD Gaming platform. What we're trying to do here is trying to build a foundation, something that we can use as a launch pad to bring game developers to Abu Dhabi to create stories, to create content, and to really give them all the opportunities that they would have to excel in that space. We want to just lay the foundation. We don't want to take part in the private sector. So we're not looking to actually create games ourselves. We're looking to encourage people that do create games to get as much support as they can to do so.
Beautiful, beautiful. Definitely a story to be told for the future generations of how UAE became the gaming hub of the Middle East and maybe even the world. Definitely appreciate the effort. Mr. Yan, what's happening there at SAE?
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. For those that might not know, SAE Creative Media Institute has been in Dubai for the last 16 years as the leading provider of creative media education. We provide bachelor's degrees in various creative media disciplines, and one of them, of course, being the discipline of gaming and game development. We are very excited about the role that we can play in the development of what's happening in the region, especially in Abu Dhabi. Education has changed tremendously over the last couple of years. No creative media institute or educational institute can prepare students adequately for what's happening in the industry without partnerships. And that's what the role that we are playing. We have very strong relations with the people on this panel, Boss Bunny Games, 2454, everybody that's included in the industry. And that's the kind of role that we want to play to make sure that our students, when they graduate, are ready to join this very exciting and booming industry and be able to contribute to it from day one.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much, sir. As I can see right now, we are having the superstars in this panel itself when it comes to morale and building the hub. Beautiful examples happening with Boss Bunny, building the foundation with 2454 and AD Gaming, and having the Institute for 16 years, pretty much graduating students at SAE. So I guess right now for the next question, which would be more about, let's say, esports in the sense. Mr. Nazeel, starting with you, sir. So what's happening with the esports scene right now, and how is Yas Island and Morale all working together for that buzz right now with this esports?
Sure, absolutely. Obviously, I think esports is now beyond the buzz, right? I think it's real. It's here, and I think it's long overdue in the Middle East as well.
Right.
And I mean, I definitely recognize that at Morale, and for us, I think where we see Morale playing a role is more on bringing the big events to Yas Island. Yas Island is leisure entertainment hub of Abu Dhabi and the Middle East, and hopefully beyond as well as we look forward. And if you think about gaming and what that means for us and consumers going forward, will expect gaming to be part of how they spend their free time, whether that's that's watching esports events or playing games. And we definitely want to be at the forefront of that as Yas Island. So for us, there's multiple aspects to that. So number one is, as you mentioned, it is about having those flagship esports events on Yas Island. And obviously, we have recently launched the Etihad Arena, which is the biggest indoor arena in the Middle East, 18,000
Yes,
capacity.
it is.
And it's ideally suited for esports events. And we hope to have a calendar of that very soon in partnership with DCT, the tourism board, who's our partner in the area. And so stay tuned for more on that in that space. But even beyond the big events, I think it's about the events that are happen weekly, monthly as well on a smaller scale for the niche sports, to really build that community of events and a calendar which really makes Yas a gaming destination for consumers. I think that's number one. The second thing I think for us, which is really important, is having a permanent physical hub for gamers on Yas. Now, I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer all my life, and I think if you ask me as a kid, what we love, I'd say could I go somewhere and just play games all day,
Right.
other gamers as well, and just try and play FIFA in the morning, Call of Duty in the evening, and just hang out with my friends. I mean, I'd love to do that. And I think that's something that we want to create on Yas, is a place where gamers can just go be themselves and help the community. I think is really important, and creating more for mass markets, type of gaming experience, I think is really important for us. Then I think there's also opportunities on Yas around, esports teams, and we have so much real estate on Yas, which is just amazing. In terms of, we have the attractions that are there, the theme parks, the racetrack as well, the golf courses. It'd be an amazing place for esports teams to base themselves. Why wouldn't you want to kind of be in a place where all this is happening around you? I think that's amazing. And last but not least, obviously, is I think having the presence of the Yas Creative Hub on Yas Island kind of completes the story, right? And brings the businesses and gaming sector there as well. So we talk about game developers and an entire sector coming there. 5 or 9 to 10, whatever the hours are. But in the lunch, but in the lunch breaks, taking off and playing games somewhere on Yas, I think that's amazing. Yas will be a place where games are created and where games are played. I think that for us is a dream ultimately.
And that's exactly right, Nazeel. I think just to add to that, in the Yas Creative Hub, from the day we launch, because we've already been an established free zone for over a decade now. There'll be 600 companies, over 16,000 creative professionals on the ground already doing this sort of work, working across all aspects of the media industry. For myself and my team, we look at gaming and esports as the next frontier. As our chairman, His Excellency Mohammed bin Mubarak, said, film and TV really took 2454 to where it is today, but gaming and esports is going to take us to where we're going to be tomorrow. And I look at companies like Boss Bunny and G over here as a great example of that. To be able to create content from this region that can be exported worldwide is exactly the sort of thing that we're trying to promote.
Yeah,
and the levels of support that we offer companies to do that hopefully will be attractive enough. It's bespoke, so we speak to every business that is looking to expand into the region, and we give them a bespoke solution that makes sense for them, and which also makes sense for us. And the idea is, and this is where I think Jan comes in. There's no point in creating education programs to train people how to create video games if the jobs aren't there. But likewise, the jobs won't be here if there's no talent. So this is why we have to work with people like Jan, and I'm sure the work that he's done in SAE over the years is incredible and important, really important to carry this industry forward.
Yeah. Thank you, Sultan. If I can respond to that, absolutely. And I think the exciting thing for us is that when you look at the development of the gaming industry, we see that as much more as just the potential employment opportunities for gamers and people in the gaming industry. Right. Because when you run a big eSports event, you have many more people, skilled people involved than just gamers. It's like putting on a World Cup football event. You need people that broadcast it. You need people that do the planning, the project management, the events, the graphic designers, the animators that work. You have the IT support people, the electricians that have to build the sets. It's not just gamers that get involved when it comes to the development of the industry. There is really a huge secondary employment opportunities for so many more people, just more than the gamers. So that's what we find exciting, is that you develop one specific sector that touches so many potential students and young people and give them the opportunity to find employment and not just play games. It's much more than that. It's much bigger than that.
Right.
Mr. G? So I was involved back in December 2019 with the PUBG Mobile tournament as part of the Riyadh Festival, which at the time was one of the biggest esports mobile events ever in the Middle East. And totally back up what Jan was saying. If I think about the people we had, we probably had over 300 to 400 people actually behind the scenes, set developers, dancers, musicians, graphic artists, lighting, live commentary, broadcasters. It was absolutely huge. I think esports in respect to the creative industry is a massive thing. I view it more as it's more like TV. I think if we talk about esports as being games, I think we could say esports TV really. When you look at the kind of creatives that needed behind it. I also wanted to say that 100% agree about local talent. So we just finished running a game jam. We think the biggest game jam ever in the UAE. AD Gaming and 2454 and SAE were our sponsors on this. So we had over 44 teams enter, and actually so we've announced the winners, but actually yesterday we had already one of the top 3 teams in our offices in Boss Bunny Studios, and we're talking to them about developing the game now into a prototype and launching the game. And what was amazing for us was the majority of the games were entered by local talent. They were either 1 or 2 man teams or 5 or 6 people teams, and not just, I say men as well. A lot of them, a lot of females in these teams as well. And it was really, really fantastic to see these games, and games that we feel are potentially good enough to prototype and launch under the Boss Bunny label as well. So definitely the growth in what's happening there, both in games development and the opportunity for young people, and also on esports, I think is absolutely huge in this region. And we've even been working with Jan and his team, Ahmed, who's his head of the games course there. We've been talking to him about getting in some interns into Boss Bunny, and also looking at the syllabus with Ahmed as well, making sure, exactly as Jan said, making sure that we're training people to have the right skills to come into the industry and hit the ground running. That's the most important thing, I think, for game developers moving to the region. If they go to employ local talent, and that's what they want to do. They want to have people hit the ground running. And finally, I'd like to say 100% agree with what Sultan is saying. Boss Bunny have received amazing support from 2454 and AD Gaming to open our Abu Dhabi studio. I won't go into the details of, because as you said, it's bespoke for every company, but I'll just say I'm very happy. My chairwoman and our finance people are very happy as well. It's absolutely fantastic support. Fantastic support.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, G.
No, it's great. It's fantastic.
Not to stray too far from the... I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't want to stray too far from this point, because what you mentioned is really interesting. One of the first things we did as a core tenet of our strategy in building up the gaming sector is to bring Unity Technologies to Abu Dhabi, and their headquartering. The headquarters for the Middle East and Africa region will be here in Abu Dhabi, and it's not just a name on the side of a building. They're going to have a team of people on the ground working at the gaming hub to ensure that there's support from the technical aspect of game development, where you need to get either certifications on being a game developer or being a certified artist, or if you need to pick up some core skills here and there through workshops, that's available. But there's also the business side to running a game studio, which a lot of people think isn't as important, but interestingly enough, it's the most important part. If you're not able to keep the business sustainable, then you're not able to create the content. So Unity are here on the ground, also providing that level of support to studios that are still trying to figure out how to turn their passion for creating games into something that can be long term and it's a successful, thriving business.
I think that's so true as well. It's teaching people the actual business side of things. I think there's so much passion for developing games. What often happens, people get, and probably carried away isn't the right word, but they get carried away in creating the game. And then what often happens, these amazing ideas, they never come to fruition because people don't generally understand the need to manage development, how they're going to release a viable candidate, get it tested and everything else. There's a whole load more that goes behind it. And teaching these kind of things is really important. So again, we're working with SAE and 2454 and AD Gaming on some business development programs that I really can't mention. Otherwise, my chairwoman will take what hair I've got left.
All right.
But there's some really exciting stuff happening. Essentially, to me, I've been in the industry for over 25 years. I've worked in a lot of countries, different businesses. I own different businesses and work for very large companies. But the support right now, given in the UAE and Abu Dhabi particularly, to games and trying to build the gaming ecosystem. Ecosystem is a horrible word that everybody always throws about, but it's an important word.
It's been overused there.
It has, but it's an important thing. But trying to build that ecosystem around a hub of expertise and talent and help that's coming from places like SAE and AD Gaming is essential. And UAE right now, I think, is definitely, talking to my colleagues around the world, I think it's leading the world and it's getting a lot of interest. The whole of the Middle East right now is getting interest from the gaming industry as a whole. Not just saying, okay, there's a market there to sell our games to generate revenue, but there's an opportunity there to develop our games working in partnership with people.
Right, and it's great to hear you say that, G, because that's also the feedback that we were receiving. But obviously, people will tell us what we want to hear. So it's it's good to see that you also hear the same feedback. We from our perspective, it's very much a, if you build it, they will come sort of mentality. We're not trying to force people to completely relocate their businesses to Abu Dhabi, but we want you to expand into Abu Dhabi, and it needs to make sense. And as my friend here, Nazeel, was mentioning earlier, Yas Island is a great place that's being really built from the ground up to be an awesome campus of creative thinking. And with the Yas Creative Hub and with the Ittihad Arena that Nazeel mentioned earlier also being there, it just seems like a perfect fit. It's kind of built for a purpose. And the multi-billion dirham media tech hub that we're building right next to the Ittihad Arena is really going to drive a lot of traffic towards a lot of creativity towards Abu Dhabi.
And I think the environment that Yas Island is built in, I'd be perfectly honest with you, I didn't realize until you mentioned it just now, my friend, about all of the different things like Warner Brothers and Etihad Stadium. I didn't know all of this, but that's the kind of environment that developers want to move to. These are creative people, but they want to have fun with their developing as well. So I think that kind of environment with that support and that level of tech, and also the quality of the offices and the space that people will have to be able to work in, That's exactly what people are living for. Frankly, I can't wait to get up there and go to Warner Brothers Island. Is it Warner Brothers Village? That sounds like a great place to go to.
Absolutely.
Let's tell us more about this.
I think the other thing as well is what you have there on Yas is a captive audience, right? So you have 30 million people who visit every year from consumers who come there for fun. So you already have that. And so the question is, how do you as a game developer leverage that, right? You can use that as your own test bed, or you mentioned earlier prototyping. Come and use a theme park to try out some games and set up a stand there and just get live feedback on the games as well, right? You have so much, potential using the assets that are already there. For example, we have the F1 racetrack. It's already been used in so many games as a racetrack as well. Why can't we create a Yas Island game where essentially people are exploring the destination actually trying to experience those digitally as opposed to in real life. Play a race, roller coaster, play golf, go on the water. So there's so many opportunities there to try and leverage the physical space and the consumer base that's already there. And we at Morale are definitely fully open to try and exploring all these opportunities. I mean, we're fortunate that Sultan and I, we share the same chairman. So in terms of integration as well, it will come together one way or another.
Absolutely. I think that's really the driving force behind why we're able to do this so successfully. It's because the vision it's all linked up, Nazeel, as you said, right? We kind of have the same direction, kind of driving Abu Dhabi forward.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the exciting thing, of course, from an educational institute point of view, is the fact that you have this, like you said, it's not a nice word, ecosystem or community, if you want to call it that, where you have all of this community of creatives on an island, and it's an island of creatives. I mean, forget about Fight Island, talk about Creative Island, this and have all of this in one place. And then in that mix, you add in a community of students that is exposed to this quality of industry players that then are ready to take them on as interns, to develop their skills, to expose them to what is happening. It's just an amazing opportunity for any student to be exposed to that kind of creative industry in that kind of environment. So very, very exciting.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. People often underestimate the difficulty of hiring, recruiting, anywhere in the world. So having all of those people in that kind of place, it becomes, here's a nice word, it becomes like a symbiotic relationship, and you're working with other people there as well. And I used to work in Guildford, for example, for a very big game company called Supermassive Games. I was on the board there. And Guildford has Electronic Arts. It has all of these major studios in the same place. And it's very incestuous how people move around, but it's absolutely fantastic as well. But when you're recruiting, when you're building new projects, and as you said, if we've got students there and we can bring them in, we want to hire local talent. That's what we want to do. And there's some very simple business reasoning behind this as well. Expat talent is very expensive. Even 2454 are helping us massively with things like, if we want them, things like visa and space, and even potentially looking for living accommodation. But it's much easier and much preferable to me as a CEO to hire local people to create new teams. And as I said, I was massively personally blown away by the game jam response. But having those people, as you say, on Yas Island, having that community all together, I think it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. I know it's going to take some time to build up, but when it's there, Sultan, I mean, I think somebody was earlier joking a little bit about the UAE becoming the world center for gaming. There's no reason why it can't become one of these major centers for gaming. There are lots of incentives, as I said, with partnerships. There are also, frankly, things like tax incentives for workers and everything else as well. So there's a lot of incentive. We just need to build it. They build it and they will come, from the Field of Dreams film. That line always made me laugh. I always kind of say, build it and then get somebody by the head and show them where it is. It's normally easier, but I definitely agree, Sultan. Until we build it, nobody will come.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. I mean, I can see the synergy taking place right here as we're setting an example here, not only to the Middle East, but to the world. how everybody can work together, whether it's Morale and Boss Bunny taking place right now as well, with all the amazing achievements and things. Maybe some of the projects by mistake you will just slip off on the side, tell us what's happening. And as well with 2454 being a foundation, telling the stories to the world, to everybody else, how things are working, and with the education system that is happening at SAE. The talk has been beautiful and amazing. So I guess things are happening right now. What is the prospect of future? What do you see is going to happen in the near future, even far? Starting with Mr. Nazeel.
I think for me, what's exciting about the future is all these things coming together in reality, right? I mean, right now we're talking about potential, but the reality hopefully isn't too far away as well. Where on Yas Island on a single day, you have major eSports events broadcast around the world. And you have 10,000, 20,000 gaming fans into the arena watching that. After the event has finished, some of them maybe go off to a gaming center and just blow off some steam. And maybe while they're there, they meet some friends who are working at the Creative Hub and some game developers, and just kind of have an organic conversation and things just kind of go from there. I think the organic nature of bringing everyone together is what's the most exciting aspect of it, as opposed to trying to force feed people into specific areas. I think having all this there will just naturally create this amazing community. I feel like that is what's exciting.
That's that's the main difference between what that actually ties directly into what I was saying at the very beginning, where we want to build a foundation and not actually take part in it, because then it's just, as you said, then it's not organic. It needs to be the private sector kind of taking advantage of the opportunities in the market, and not having to compete with the government to do so. So for us, it's important that we support businesses like with Boss Bunny in being able to compete at a global level, right? And I think that's the key thing here. And you mentioned it as well, but I think why stop at just being a good or a good tech campus in the UAE, or maybe the best in the Middle East? Why stop there? Why not go global? And that's how we do it.
Yeah, I think
that's been our core focus in our strategy from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think what's really important, and Nazeel, you just said something there. What an amazing place to showcase games to all of those 10,000 people in an arena, or people watching virtually. As I mentioned, the PUBG Mobile tournament, there was roughly 6,000 to 10,000 people watching during the actual event in the arena, but there were hundreds of thousands watching live on the streams. And so massive opportunity there as well. And also with the educational side of things, bringing those guys in, having them to be able to visit studios. I mean, Boss Bunny, of course, I'm talking about Boss Bunny. I'm the CEO of Boss Bunny. But I know that AD Gaming, 2454 and SAE are working with other games companies as well to bring them there. So you'll have this community and students where they'll be able to go around and see, and also see what they want to do. Some students don't want to do mobile game. A lot of people are interested in VR. A lot are interested in PC or console. So if you have these different companies there, you'll be growing all the time, and then people will find their place, what they want to do. So I think we've mentioned it a couple of times, that the word synergy here. And I think as long as we keep working together and talking together, and through the auspices and the direction of the guys at AD Gaming and Sultan, and also we've been working with generally with the 2454 guys there as well, there's absolutely no reason why that won't happen.
Right, and to I guess more directly tell you, because your question about it was what's the future strategy? What's our forward thinking? What's our trajectory? As the world's kind of transitioning towards a knowledge-based economy. Everyone's looking at ways to capitalize on what the jobs of the future will be. Because if you start to train that talent from now, you already have that wealth and that knowledge that everybody will be coming to try and tap into. For us, we think, and this is something I say no in certain terms. I mean, we absolutely, I would say even, are on the right track in the regards of gaming and esports. We've not only brought the right expertise in for game development, but for esports, we feel like we've brought the right stakeholders in as well. As you mentioned, G, right? There might have been 6,000 people watching live, but there were hundreds of thousands of people watching online. And there's no better way to get people to learn about different cultures than to bring content to them from those cultures. God of War, that's one really good example. I didn't know much about Greek mythology until I played God of War. Now I know everything. So it's a really good way to export culture, export traditions and to teach people about who you are. And I think one of the key things for esports in particular that we've done is we mentioned Unity technology for game development, but for esports, we brought in esports event organizers that are top tier. We've also brought in one of the world's leading Dota 2 teams, Team Nigma, and they actually did a photo shoot, Nazeel, at the Etihad Arena to announce their partnership with Etihad Airways. So we here in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, we managed to not only bring in an esports team, but we also had that esports team become the first to ever be sponsored by a major airline. So that's, we're already breaking ground in these areas, and it's about making that the norm to get esports into a more wider, I guess, to treat esports as you would traditional media, and to give the athletes that compete all the opportunities that they deserve to excel.
Mainstream, yeah. Totally. Mr. Jan, what do you think?
Yes.
Go on, Jan. I'll come back.
Okay, Mr. Jan.
Thank you. Yes, I think, when we talk about the future, the education is all about the future. It's all about making sure that our future talents are ready for this, this vision that you all have been describing. When Silicon Valley was established, when technology started really developing, and Silicon Valley became the magnet for talent from all over the world, and people moved towards Silicon Valley, it became kind of like an attraction for people to congregate in Silicon Valley. What you found after that, after a couple of years, is that once the skills within Silicon Valley was developed, they then spread back across the world, across the globe. And my vision and my view is that the same would happen with Yas Island, that Yas Island will become a hub of skills development, of the industry development, and people will be attracted to Yas Island because of the quality of what is being established there. But over time, it would also become the global pool of talent that will then be exported across the world to take that message of what had been done on Yas Island across the globe. So that's the future that I see from an education point of view, is the potential of exporting knowledge, not only locally, but internationally.
I think that's a fantastic way to look at it, because if you look at something like Silicon Valley, and I'm talking in general now, you had X companies start there, but so many offshoots. People leave companies, they form groups, they form friends, and they go off and do something else, and you get more creative things. And that's, from a pure games point of view, that's what I see happening. I see lots of games offshoots, 1 or 2 3-man bands once they understand how to run a game as a business. And also once the, let's be honest, the money, the investment community can see the skills that are being developed in the region as a whole, then they'll be interested in investing. Raising money is a hard thing to do. And the easiest way to do it is to prove what you've got, create prototypes, show people what you're doing, show them that you understand the business, and you're surrounded by the ecosystem of support. I think that's a fantastic way to look at it, Jan. And I think you're so right in terms of how that will grow organically.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us at Morale, I think one of the things that we are always thinking about is what is the future of leisure and entertainment from a consumer point of view. But the way go have fun today is not the way it's going to be in 10 years time, 20 years time, right? And so for us, having a group of people on the island who we can access the expertise to help us answer those questions would also be amazing as well, and bring some of those aspects to life. So right now, for example, we're talking about eSports, which is traditionally behind the screen. But why not in 5 years time have AR or VR based eSports, right? So I think all those opportunities are there, they're endless, and things that we haven't thought of yet. But having that group just close by and our partners in shaping that future for consumers would be amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, as the word synergy is happening here together, before we end this panel, we'd like to say thank you so much for sharing such an inspirational, positive view of what's happening now and to the future. So with that being said, any last words? Starting with Nazeel.
No, I think it's been great catching up with everyone on this call. I hope those listening as well have been inspired. I certainly have been inspired listening to everyone here, and I can't wait to see it all come to fruition.
Beautiful. Mr. G, Boss Bunny.
I mean, basically, for Boss Bunny, it's been a heck of a ride since we started just over a year and a half ago, but we've only just started. Now we've established ourselves and we're working with the partners such as the people here on this call. I mean, frankly, it's a old saying, but the sky literally is the limit in terms of what we can do. We're limited by our ambitions and sometimes money, but we're limited ultimately by just our ambitions and our willingness to work together and to work hard to get things done. I mean, I'm very excited, and I mean, again, I'm really happy to be here in the region. Been here for 2 years now. Can't see myself going anywhere for some time to come.
Amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Sultan.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the panel. I mean, I really enjoyed the conversation. And of course, I do have to do a shameless plug here. Make sure to follow Abu Dhabi Gaming on Instagram.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, and we constantly give updates to what it is that we're doing. Also register at adgaming.ae to keep up to date on what it is that we're doing in the gaming esports space. Of course, if you build games, call me. If you make games, give me a call.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. I'll hand over to Jan. I don't want to take up too much of Jan's time.
Bro, I just have two things that I want to say. First of all, just thank you to everybody here. Thank you to what you guys are doing and the opportunity for SAE to be able to be part of this very exciting development that's happening. We all have a shared vision. It is fantastic to be able to be part of this. And we're privileged as SAE to be a partner with all of you. The second part of my message is a little bit of a plug as well, Sultan, but really is a message to the young people and to the parents of this region. Now is the time. Now is the time for you to get yourself into this industry.
Right.
The development of the creative media industry in this region is booming, and it is standing at the forefront of unprecedented growth. Unprecedented growth. Don't miss the opportunity. This is now the time for you to join this industry. All right. So take your creative passion, turn it into a profession. Contact whoever you need to contact to make sure that you don't miss the opportunity. Right. We would love to see all of our young creative talent, our passionate gamers, our graphic designers, our animators, our film producers, our sound and audio engineers, anybody that is creatively talented, use the opportunity, join this industry. The time is now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, just to get a little bit personal here, as a person who's been gaming ever since 1986, I would say, as a person who's been involved in esports, actually, I hosted a PUBG event in Riyadh, Mr. G. And,
So you know, okay, we'll have a chat. You probably know a lot of my colleagues.
Definitely. As a person who's been in game development, and I've been looking closer to what's happening 2454 in AD gaming, and pretty much what's happening with Moral and Ittihad Arena and all of that kind of stuff. So being involved in broadcast, being involved in esports and game development, I am not only super excited, but I'm getting goosebumps right now to see that this is really happening. It's not just a talk right now. It is really happening. And right now we're having like the top, I would say the top dogs right now, the big guys, you know, the amazing, phenomenal personalities. Like as we have right now, an amazing example with Boss Bunny doing it and making it happen. Not only that, giving back to the community. Thank you so much for the Gaming Jam and what you're doing to the community and building it and showcasing that, you know, it is possible. Just make it happen, you know, and building the hub right there with Moral and what you guys are doing together and building this safe haven and beautiful environment, not only for the gamers here in the Middle East, but even to the world, or just giving one of the top-notch education with SAE. That's like a dream come true for like a person like myself, like back in the 90s, it was like, there would be no way. The only way to do is go to Japan or the States. Now we are having one of the top gaming education when it comes to esports or development, all happening here in the UAE. And building a foundation for all of that. Thank you so much, 2454 and AD Gaming. I just want to say this is like a phenomenal time to be living here as a gamer. Thank you so much Gentlemen, this has been a crazy and amazing and high respectfully of a panel taking place right here at DGC MEA. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this and being with us here. And stay tuned for more talks that are happening here with DGC MEA. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.